YouTube, and this might be the fastest live stream ever because, well, Euros are on and England plays in 13 minutes and we are 20 minutes late getting on. So whatever, it's one of those fun days.
We're going to fly through this. Got to get to that game.
No doubt. No doubt. So let's roll the intro. We got lots of fun stuff we're going to talk about and a new MLS Stratus. Hey, that could be coming soon.
I love it.
That's right. I wasn't making things up. New MLS Stratus coming to a laptop, computer, or maybe even best yet, a mobile device near you. What do you think about this, Jen?
I love it. I mean, I'm always one of the people that says that, Trebs should be giving us better tech, right? We should have more available to us. It should be easier to find the information. We should get more data than we're getting, right? And this provides all of that. And most importantly, it makes our job easier. It makes us look more professional, and it's going to replace an outdated system. So, over time, I don't want to scare anybody. Over
That's
time,
right.
of
Hang
course.
on. Yeah. Hold the horses.
Yeah. Let's everyone slow down for a sec. Yeah.
It's not happening today at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it's necessary at this point. You know what I mean? And I think it'll make our jobs easier. It'll make our consults better. It'll make us, the data more accessible for us. And it's going to look more modern. It's going to be a nicer interface for our clients to use. And it allows us to connect with them in real time, which I know we have Collab right now. Not that everybody out there uses it, although you should be. But it's going to integrate that at a much higher level. And I think that's the direction our technology needs to go.
Absolutely. So what are we talking about? Well, let's roll a little intro and then you'll get to see exactly what we're talking about with the new MLS Stratus system. The new realm. I feel like we're entering I don't know, Game of Thrones or something here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, or I don't know, outer space.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do some reading on yourselves. thenewrealm.ca. Jen and I were looking at it this morning. There's lots of information here, what it looks like and what it's going to do. And that's what Jen and I are going to talk about today. What's it going to do? So it's combining, all the information that Stratus or Treb has that they've had for the last 20, 30, 40 years, and combining that with GeoWarehouse and some of the other apps and databases out there and putting it all in one spot. And more importantly, I think, Jen, is making the user interface from a realtor's perspective really easy. Yeah. And even maybe more importantly for our clients, our buyers and sellers, even better. Better. And that is exactly what you were talking about. We have tremendous resources. Let's start making things better from the tech side for our clients as they experience the online version of this. So I'm just going to scroll through here. Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say, they're getting this information in other sources, right? So, I don't want to be rude about it, but it's kind of about time we're stepping it up a little bit. And, we still need to have a customer facing app that it provides more value and content, but this is a good step in the right direction. And I could only imagine that will follow this. And I don't know that for sure. I'm just kind of saying, logic would dictate that might be the next step. But, for those of us that have used Collab in the past and used Stratus and used GeoWarehouse and, and MPAC and all the different systems that we have, to be able to pull it all up on one screen in one place at the same time and be able to send that information to our clients and have it provide us with turnover rates and neighborhood data and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's just gonna benefit everybody. So I'm glad to see that they're finally doing it. And Collab has been I've been saying this for, I feel like years now, because that's how long Collab has been around, believe it or not, that it's like this hidden gem of the Treb system that nobody knows about because they've never promoted it. They've never really done much to show this tool that's been phenomenal for interacting with our clients, and they're finally kind of making it the centerpiece of their system. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, exactly here. And I don't know if you can see it on screen. I'll try and make it a little bit bigger here, but this would be like the customer interface, whether you're on the phone or, or yourself using it as an agent. And what I love about it, as you enter your client's information and their criteria, what they're looking at and things like that, check this out. It's going to, if a new listing comes on, you're going to be able to do so many different things. And we've got the great news over the last couple of weeks. Our brokerage is already part of Broker Bay, and so are many other large brokerages. And their information is now intertwined. You're going to be intertwined in a sense, handed out to all of TREB users. So booking appointments is going to be so much easier. And
yes,
Jen, if you were my buyer and you were looking for a 4-bedroom home with 5 bathrooms in the city of Province, LOL, OLO, the system will tell me that this is a great match for you as my buyer if I'm the agent.
yeah,
Right. And it'll automatically, I'm sure, will get sent to you as a typical drip campaign as things come up. And then if you log on to it, of course, and review that, we can send notes back and forth to each other in real time. You're going to see as an agent in real time your clients jumping onto this and what homes they viewed. And that's one of the great things that we've talked about with Collab is that intuitive feature and knowing when to connect with your clients. Really, really cool. From the stuff that I love about it is I use about 2 or 3 different platforms to go pull. I'll just leave this here to go pull market stats. And and sometimes it's a little frustrating because I'm jumping from one platform to another platform to another platform. It'll all be right here. And very user-friendly in pulling that information. There's a screen up here that I'm looking for. I'm sure it'll fly by here. But if you wanted to compare, detached homes in Stouffville versus Richmond Hill, it'll automatically do that. And give you like valuations over time and stuff like that. I think this is a really cool, going to be a really cool platform for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to make our lives and our jobs easier. And, it's also integrated with Authentisign that I think you saw there in that clip that popped up. So, you can do this in Collab as well, but it looks like it's a little cleaner in this system. They've like tightened that up a bit where you can just select the property and then I'll go to Authentisign and it will start creating a transaction kit for that property right off the bat. So no more jumping out of Stratus, copying the MLS number, going into Authentisign, or going out of Collab into Stratus to go to, web form, the web form button. All those extra steps are getting eliminated. And it's just a cleaner system, and there's more to it than that as well. They have enhanced CMAs that are going to be a part of this. So that's going to be able to allow us to provide a better product to our clients. And between this coming out and Broker Bay partnering and all the different things that TREB is working on right now, they really are doing a lot to make our experience more tech-based and then also cleaner, more user-friendly, simplified, right? Which is what we've been looking for. So
yeah. And you know me really well now. I'm a visual person. So the fact that this is just so much more visual than Stratus, I'm just loving it. I'm just loving it.
It just looks better, right? And for people who are, on Matrix, this is blowing everybody's mind. Matrix looks it's more data focused than Stratus is, and that's saying something. So and the fact that you can click on a listing and see the legal history, see the legal description, check out the sales hit, like that's all linked into this now. So, it just makes it so much smoother, and also being able to give us the opportunity to answer our clients quickly. We no longer have to go back and kind of go, let me look that up, right? It's like, oh, it's right here. It's on my phone. I can answer you immediately, right? And that's a huge thing we haven't been able to do to date.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and you raised a good point too, Jen. It's not necessarily see. Here's what I love and hate all at the same time about mobile phones is now, for instance, I don't need to memorize every single data point or detail about stuff because the information is in our fingertips, right? It's all about how we access that information. And the fact
Yep.
is, as we're laying out here, that this will be mobile friendly, and you want to know if you're at a listing, or sorry, if you're at a showing and you're talking about the home, and the client start asking you, well, what did that home sell for? Or what's the average price here? Or, what is the difference between 3 and 4 bedrooms? You no longer need to memorize all those crazy stats, everything like that. And you pull it right up here, and you can see it on the screen here, how easy it is to differentiate that information,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
I my challenge would be to the agents, the people that are going to be watching this, is to buy in early,
Yeah.
right? And the moment that we get access to it, which we're told that is in the fall, right, Jen?
Yeah. Fall 2021 is when it'll be rolled out to all TREB and TRREB board members. So anybody who's on a board affiliated with TREB will have
Yeah,
access to it. Yeah.
it's going to be fantastic, right? Being able to use this information and have it out on your phone and being comfortable with it is going to provide you with the tools necessary to, we always talk about, be that local area expert, and knowing how to use this tool, for instance, is going to be pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, and take advantage of the opportunity it's going to create, because there will be a lot of agents who aren't going to be willing to be early adopters to this technology. They're going to stick to what they know, what they're used to, what's comfortable. It's kind of like when they rolled out Authentisign and got rid of the old web forms, right? Like we had a year to adjust to that, and most people waited till December of 2019 to learn how to use Authentisign, and then had a big level of stress associated with that. And we got through it and it's fine, but don't be that person, right? Be the early adopter so that in the fall, when you're sitting at a listing presentation and someone says, what makes you different from the competition? Well, let me show you,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
a huge feature, because guaranteed most people, a lot of agents, I shouldn't say most, a lot of agents won't move to this quickly. It takes time, which is why the rollout will be as long as it is before they transition. And they will eventually transition out of the old Stratus and into this system completely. That is the goal with this system. They are eliminating Stratus as we know it now, and this will be the new Stratus system that we function in. But they're giving a ton of time for agents to use it, learn it, adjust to it. And a lot of agents will wait till the last minute until they have to adapt. So don't be that person, right? Be the early adopter and implement it into your business and take advantage of that gap.
Yeah, exactly. And as everyone knows, at KWRC, we are always early adopters and provide tremendous amount of resources and training. And I'm sure Mike Russo and Dylan and many others will be, digging into this deep and providing lots of different opportunities for people to get acquainted with it and make it your online best friend. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I love, Mary, you're absolutely right. Early adopters are always the winners. Right.
Yep.
And,
Absolutely.
and using a system like this is going to let you stand out from the crowd. Like, how cool would it be, Jen? You're sitting there, you kind of touched on it. You're at a listing appointment and some of these questions are coming back at you. And sometimes, we agents are a little bit shy to open up that laptop to start pulling because they're not confident in the system. That's okay. I get that. We start asking for help and we can make sure you get that. But with a system that's this fast, this responsive, and this graphically appeasing, if you will, it's going to make you definitely stand out from the crowd, right? Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine having an iPad or a laptop at that table and they ask you a question, and instead of saying, you know what, that's a great question. When I get back to the office, I'll check in and get back to you, which is our old script that we used to use all the time when we didn't have an answer. Now you get to say, you know what, that's a great question. Let's take a look.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a much nicer script, and it's shorter, less words to memorize.
That's right. That's right. I like it. So don't fret. It's not happening tonight at 5:00. As we said, this is coming out in the fall. And as we get more information about it, we'll certainly share that with you guys, and we'll bring you along with our education as well, because, what we've said today, that's pretty much as far as we know about it. But we are definitely excited to see this thing in action and get our hands on it for sure.
Yeah, and of course, for those of you at our KWRC, there's obviously be training on the system. So, don't worry about that, whether it's through coaching or the monthly calendar. we're obviously going to make sure you know how to use it and know how to integrate it into your system properly. So just keep an eye out for it as we change, as the calendars roll out and as we get more info, like Gary said, and be open to participating early. I think that's the key here.
Yeah, great way to sum that up. Okay, moving on. MyKWRC. Okay, so Jen, I'm gonna drive, but you're gonna be that backseat driver. Is that it? That's not a fair way to say it. But here, this is our support website for our agents, MyKWRC.ca. And as you can imagine, it has everything from training to forms to contact information and so forth. But Jen, you drive me around here a little bit and kind of highlight some of your favorite things and also where typically you're instructing your coaching clients to go, new agents, experienced agents, and so forth.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of main areas that I think we tend to use the most when it comes to this site. The biggest one, I think the most obvious one, is obviously the trust account information that's in the top right corner there. If you do have a deal that that closes or you firm up, so not closes, but you firm up and that agent needs deposit information, you can just send them to this site, send them to that link, and then they can fill out the information and get all the details, right? I find sometimes it comes up, people don't know where that information is, or they're asking for more detailed instructions, and they actually have to come here and sign up and do a security check before those instructions are released. So just send them here. It makes it easier. In your email that you send back saying congratulations, just paste the link. This is where you go to get the trust information. So that's a spot that we often use. But more importantly, because I think a lot of us knew that was there, but maybe not everybody. If you go under the new to KWRC tab, this is one that we use a lot, right? Who to contact is a big one. This will give you the contact for everybody in the brokerage and what support they provide. So if you're not sure, especially as a newer agent, who you need to reach out to about a certain question, go here and just figure out what's my topic and who am I supposed to message. Now you can message anybody and we'll either answer it or guide you in the right direction, but this just gives you a little bit more clarity. And then also the KWRC logos are here. So if you're looking for logos for your command profile or for marketing or branding or anything like that, if you're not using Mary, which you should be, but if you're not, then you can get your logos here and utilize them that way. So you're not trying to spend time looking for these logos or downloading poor quality logos, which kind of often happens. And then of course at the bottom, because I have to shout out to it, there's a link to productivity coaching. So if you want to know more about that, you can click on that there as well. I
thought I would just click on the logos because believe it or not, this is one of the most often asked questions by our newer agents that come into KWRC. And as you can see here, we have it kind of broken up into many different things. And I know recently a lot of our agents were asking about KW award images, and you simply just click on that. They pop up and you can download the individual award that you want to celebrate. And it's pretty easy. The other cool thing too, that we haven't really talked about this a lot, and is some people are always looking for GIFs or GIFs, and Mary created a handful for us, so you can download them there.
I didn't even know that was there. That's cool.
Right? I should tell Mary, if you're listening, I actually just uploaded them to one or two of the websites, Jiffy and Giphy. So if you're using some of those apps that integrate, hopefully now you'll be able to use those.
Be able to find it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's something that comes up. And, for me, I find even coaching with more advanced agents, often they don't have those files handy. So when they do want to make a new piece of marketing or that, they've got to go and email somebody or try and find it. And it's like, the website is literally your one-stop shop for everything. And we haven't really ever reviewed it. We kind of rolled it out and showed some highlights, and that was really it, right? So, and there's obviously a lot more as well. The command belt program is on here and outlined. So depending on your different level with your command, but we won't get into that now. If you go to the broker tab, this is where I probably send people the most, because this is all of the broker information, right? You can find your broker bits here. You can find the Keller Williams forms that we need, which you can also access through command. But more importantly, if you go to the additional forms, and Gary, we looked at this earlier today, there's all extra documents in here that instead of recreating the wheel, just come here and see what the brokerage is providing for you, because they provide a ton of different stuff, right? There's a letter of opinion in here. I'm waiting for it to load because I can't remember what the other ones are right now, but I know there's
sorry,
5 or 6.
I didn't click on it. I should click on it.
Good thing I
That's
said
me.
something.
That's on me.
I would have been ad-libbing for like a good little minute there. I'm trying to see what else here. There's the FinTrack. There's the absent realtor form. There's just a lot of extra documents that will, instead of trying to save them on your computer, instead of trying to find them, where's that thing I looked at last month or 2 months ago or 4 months ago, if you just know to come here, then it's like offer presentation email scripts. So when you have offers and you want to send an email out to all of the agents that showed it, you can copy and paste this right into Broker Bay, just mail it to everybody. It takes just a couple of seconds. You can save it as a template in Broker Bay, so you never have to do it again. So these resources are all here for you guys. So that's one of the things in the additional that is there also.
Mary has a good point too. All of these forums that we're talking about, whether they're on the website or access here, they're constantly being updated by our staff. So it's always the latest and greatest as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you go back under the broker tab, there's also broker bits, right? So if you want to see what was covered by Christine or Andrew or Marvin or anybody in the most recent team meetings, or you're looking for that clause that Marvin talked about or that Andrew referenced, and you go to broker bits, they're all here, right? Every month the broker bits is uploaded. So you can see the archives, you can access what was discussed, you can get all those details. You don't have to memorize it at the team meeting. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to do anything other than just come here later and get it. And then if you actually go back to the main page, Gary, just really quickly, like the home page, bottom right, there's links to the team meetings. So if you do miss it, go up a little bit. Bottom right of the screen I was looking at, the red bar there, there's the virtual team meeting. So you can click on that and see any of our meetings from the past. You've got the training calendar in the middle. Come here and register for any training you want to attend, right? And then the market stats that we discuss every month at our meeting, Mary uploads them here after every meeting. So it's the most recent up-to-date stats. So, all of this stuff that we're doing is all so accessible through this site. And I don't know that enough people knew about that. So that's kind of my tour of the site. Those are the main things I use it for. I'm sure there's more on here. I didn't even touch on the training section or the resources section. And there's a lot. KWRC TV, you can watch the old episodes there, all the COVID-19 stuff. KW Assist is on here if you need to get access to them or want to request support. There's just so much stuff here. Our real estate videos for social media that you can download, brand, make your own, and then upload. Those are on here. We can be taking advantage of that stuff. And, it's just knowing where to go. And that's why this site exists for our agents. It's all in one place, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think some of my favorite slides or pages are our virtual team meetings, the stats for sure. That's where we talk about the market stats, and we make, those are available to you as an agent to use within your listing presentations and so forth. And of course, our team meetings, which happens to be tomorrow, our monthly team meeting, they're there and archived there, and so are the slides. Because we know that there's a lot of information that gets shared throughout the slides that you want for specific purposes. So they're all available there as well. And use this site. And it's here for our agents to leverage, and it's getting tremendous traction to it. It's a site that'll never be done because we're always adding to it, and different people come up with different great ideas, or could we add this to it, and so forth. And that's something that Mary in the background is always working on. So shout out to her for keeping this site up and live, and
she does such a good job.
Yeah,
she does an amazing job. And the one thing we didn't actually even mention was the Scott Leroy links are on here too. So if you're looking for Scott Leroy's videos and you want to come, I think it's under training, you can go to Scott Leroy training and access all his videos through this site. Same with all of the Keller Williams Command paperless videos. Same with the Authentisign videos that we created to give you guys walkthrough of how to use the different systems. And I'm sure we'll be adding Broker Bay videos and Realm videos and all that other stuff as we get these things up and running at a higher level. But that's all that training, all that education, it's all here. So if you're ever looking for anything KWRC, start here, right?
Yeah.
And then work out from there. If you can't find it, then figure out maybe who to ask or who you need to contact at that point. But odds are it's on this site.
Yeah, for sure. And I just brought up this page too, Jen. I know not everyone is at this point in their business where they're starting their personal real estate corporation, but we have a tremendous resource here filled with some different interviews and webinars that we were able to host. And in fact, this video here hosted by a lawyer, an accountant out in Ottawa that we did. It's actually one of our most viewed videos, well over 1,000 views just in the last number of months. And this is a great resource for the Personal Real Estate Corporation. Very good. That's MyKWRC.ca. Our brokerage, not to say that we live out of it, but we do host a lot of our information there. And if you're one of our agents, take full advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're talking to agents that aren't KWRC and they want to learn more about us, this is a great place to come to check it out, right? Because this is where most of our stuff lives. So there's a lot of value in this. And I know under the welcome category, there's our value prop and our mission and our vision and all that stuff as well. So our cultures, all of that. So whether you're talking to somebody else who's non-KW or you're just looking for yourself and you want to learn more about us, this is where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Okay, I threw you a curveball for the next one. But before we do that, this is pretty cool. This was just released the other day. We wanted to highlight, or not only we, but the Toronto Real Estate Board highlighted one of our own, Colin Campbell, here for the philanthropic work that he's doing in the community. And we wanted to take time out of the segment to highlight that. And so what has he done over the last couple of years? He's partnered with some local businesses, and the Superstore being one. And there's a great story about how he and the Superstore, the leadership there, went from feeding 100 families to well over 250 families at Thanksgiving last year, and just really, really amazing things that his team and the Superstore are doing in the communities. So we wanted to make sure that we highlighted that, and he's being recognized. Colin and his team is being recognized right through the Toronto Real Estate Board. So pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do the back to school backpacks as well. They do so much to give back, right? I know Colin has that philanthropic streak in his mindset and in his business and his goals going forward. So it's really cool to see that him get recognition for that. I love it.
Awesome. Okay, next one. Here we go. So I says to Jen.
I says to Jen one day.
We're going to talk about adjustments. And she looks at me. She's like, what? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, well, the lawyers do that. Yeah, whatever.
The lawyers do that. So let me just scroll. Sorry for the scrolling window, but this is on our agreement of purchase and sale, Form 100, that every purchase goes through, more or less. And what we thought we would do over a handful of segments or shows is just kind of highlight some of the pre-printed clauses that perhaps we tend to take for granted, or we haven't taken the time to really understand them. And last week we got to talk about the insurance clause and a little bit about the inspection clause as well. And today we thought we'd talk about adjustments. So what does that mean? When a home closes, how are things divvied up? Who pays for what on closing day and so forth. So basically what this line or sentence says here, we won't go through it in detail, but the day of closing, all the expenses of the home now belong to the buyer. Doesn't matter if you close at 10 in the morning or at 5:59 in the evening, right?
Yeah.
And it's important to know that, right? It's especially from not land taxes, but property taxes. So if you purchase a home, today, for instance, June 22nd, it closes today, the new owner or you are now responsible for all the taxes that have not been paid yet from June 22nd all the way forward to the end of the year. And we know through adjustments in sometimes that typically we prepay our property taxes, right, Jen?
Yeah, traditionally, yeah.
Right? Sometimes it's in quarterly installments or monthly installments, or perhaps it's done through your lender or what have you. And typically there's an adjustment where me as the seller, for instance, I've already paid maybe into the month of July, another, $200 or $300, $400, $500 or more. And Jen is the buyer. She now has to credit me that money. Right. So even though she bought the home for $10 million, for instance, she now owes me $10,500,000 because of the pre-tax that I've already done. Right.
That's a really great tax rate on that $10 million house, Gary.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I suppose that example didn't fly so well. I was hoping that to stay under the radar there, Jen.
Sorry. I'm not good at math, but I mean, come on.
Well, the home hasn't sold in 200 years. So that's why. Yeah.
What did I buy?
Yeah, really. That's really.
So, I love it.
But there's some other advantages to your closing date and adjustments, right, Jen? And especially from an investment perspective. And that's where I thought I'd take this conversation. And when I mentioned this to Jen, I really got her attention.
You did. I didn't know this. Yeah, I'm actually excited to hear the rest of it. I only got a brief snippet. So
what would it feel like or be like? Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. You as a home or a property investor, or you're representing an investor yourself as an agent, and you said to them, if we close on this day and we have a conversation with your mortgage broker and lender, there might be an opportunity where you don't have a full mortgage payment for 2 months, maybe 3. And what if we could show you how to collect almost 3 full months worth of rent before you even make a full mortgage payment? Now you're got the attention of that investor. Now you're standing out from the crowd and looking like the expert, right?
Absolutely.
So I can tell Jen wants to ask me, so how does that work?
Exactly what I want to ask you. I was still trying to figure out how to not have a mortgage payment for 3 months. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there's a few things here, and maybe we can get into more detail on another show, but me as a home investor or property investor, I want to close on the property, for instance, very early in the month, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so forth. And why is that? Well, from a rental standpoint, or perhaps an income standpoint, if I close on the 5th of the month, me as the new buyer, we just talked about adjustments, the tenant, hopefully, has paid their full month rent on the 1st, right?
Right. So you're going to get more of that rent money back.
I'm going to get 20, if it's a 30-day month, I'm going to get 25 days worth of rent of income. And that's going to, the lawyers are going to do that adjustment for me on closing. These are good things, right? And there's different ways to do that as well. When do we typically pay our mortgage payment, Jen? It's not the day of closing, is it?
It's usually the next month.
The next month, right? And it's not a full mortgage payment because there's going to be an interest adjustment there because we haven't had a full month for them to calculate that, right?
Yeah.
There are lenders out there, talk to your mortgage broker and talk to the lender, that they'll even do another mortgage adjustment or interest adjustment for a second month. The other thing that I want to do is I never want to have from a property investment, I never want to have my mortgage payment come out on the 1st of the month. Right. I think we've talked about this in the past. I want it at least on the 5th because that gives me a little bit of leeway. If a tenant might be late on a payment or so forth, I can always make sure I have the appropriate funds in the bank account, right? So if I've received 25 days of income, then I receive on the 1st, at the very least, another full income on the property. And if I do have to make my first interest payment on, which is month 2, right, on the 5th, I have almost 2 full months of rent before that happens.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
It is a great way to just, it's amazing how much a closing date can affect your monthly income.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with an income property, right? Like, I mean, I've never had it explained to me or even been taught that. So that was kind of, my mind is a little bit blown right now. But I mean, I love being able to have that conversation with clients and explain that to them, or be strategic. Sometimes the closing date can be arbitrary. It's a great reason to have a strategic conversation around that date, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Many people will just throw in a date that's just whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
the 17th is my favorite number.
Yeah.
Like you might
Yeah.
loss out on a few $100s just because it's your favorite number, right?
Yeah.
Or more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Especially the bigger
Absolutely.
revenue buildings. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And even from a tax reimbursement scenario, if we take out the investment of it, if you close earlier in the month, then you pay back arguably less taxes because you might save those 20 or 25 or 27 days. I mean, it would be minuscule, but you know, it might matter. It might save you $100 or $200 or whatever that might look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And obviously the higher the income on that property, the more money that you're going to have come in at the very
Yeah.
least. Yeah, and that is definitely a strategy that I would teach my investors, a strategy that I was always, I
Yeah.
would teach our investment workshops, and every time I'd bring it up, I could see people's minds just like, hang on a second, what just happened?
Yeah.
And when we're talking
Wait
about
a
some
minute.
properties that have $4,000 or $5,000 a month or more in income, I was able to show them how to create, $10,000, $12,000 of income before they had their first big mortgage payment. And that can mean a lot to a lot of people, because we always talk about having, a reserve fund or a slush fund for those rainy days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a huge safety net right out the gate, right? That you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. So,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a huge value add to that for sure. I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So if you have questions around that, do reach out to us. There's much more we can get into detail on that, and maybe we turn one of these episodes into a full investment talk on some of those
Yeah,
strategies that perhaps you just never thought about before. And it's a really unique strategy to obviously you know sure up the bank account a little bit, right? Before
yeah,
you have
yeah.
anything major expenses. Very
Any
good.
cost coming out? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It also buys you time if you don't get paid, right? Like if that tenant doesn't pay the rent, then you have a little window of time before you owe something to kind of figure out what's going on, or get that problem resolved, which is also nice because it can be nerve wracking at the beginning to see if the tenant's going to pay on time, be a good tenant, or if you're going to have an issue, right?
yeah. Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. And I think we might have to do an investment segment. Stacey's saying
Stacy.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's lots there too, and in fact, going forward, I know into the fall and much farther than that, we've been talking a lot more about generating wealth, not only for our agents, but that in turn is going to help their clients generate wealth. And the more that the more we can have these types of conversations, the more people it affects, right? That's the cool thing
yeah.
with stuff like this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The more people we can educate, the more people they educate, and so on, right? And you get that butterfly effect, which is kind of why we do what we do, right? To make sure people know how to get the best out of it and have the best scenario possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, I can tell you, Stacy, tomorrow at a very, very high level, I'm moving my hands above the screen, very high level. I'm going to, at our team meeting, I'm going to go over my investment pro forma that I would use to analyze investment properties. Now that it'll be at a very high level, and it'll be available for download, but we can certainly have a much deeper conversation with that going forward. We haven't had that conversation in a while, as I thought it was a good time to bring that back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, it's standing out from the crowd and being, providing your clients with pretty amazing information too on how you educate them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. And having the tool too to be able to do it easily and effectively, to give accurate information, right? Without guessing or trying to figure it out on your own. It's always
Yeah.
having those resources just makes our lives easier, right? So lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. So Jen, that wraps up the show. Glad that we got it off. I know we were a little late getting on, but that's okay. It's all good now. All good now. And we got some awesome stuff coming out at our team meeting tomorrow. So that's at noon. And here's the really cool part, Jen. Colin Campbell had reached out to me last week, and he was working on a deal that was an assignment deal. And there's always questions that come up with assignments and so forth. Yeah. And make a long story short, he got connected with basically a lawyer that's all they specialize in, is in assignments for both the buying side and the selling side. So guess who we got coming on tomorrow at the team meeting?
Yes, I love it.
So that lawyer will be with us tomorrow for about 15 minutes, kind of giving us that overview of how we should be protecting our clients and so forth. And that just an amazing resource to know him going forward. So I'm excited about that one for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were lawyers that specialize just in that type of deal, because they're complicated, right? They can be, and I know a lot of agents will just be like, I just won't do it, because it's very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts and deposits and things moving around, and it can get messy if you don't know what you're doing. So have that resource and have that person that could be a go-to support is huge, right? I've never had that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that one. Very good. So that's tomorrow at noon, tomorrow being June 23rd. Look for the link coming a little bit later, and we're going to have a lot of fun at the team meeting as always. So for Jen Silbernagel, I'm Gary McGowan. You can always catch us on your favorite podcast player of a choice, and we'll see everybody on the next show. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.